Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I know it has been such a long time since I posted a YouTube video, but I am back and it is a very special one indeed. The first ever NFL video on the channel. Can we get a round of applause? So, what I'm going to be doing today is talking about the NFL playoff schedule. The NFL playoffs are here and we know the first round matchups, and I'm predicting the entire bracket. So let's get into the first game. Bills versus Colts. Now, Bills are 2 seed, Colts are 7 seed. Here's my thing on the Colts. Phillip Rivers is, let's just say, he doesn't play well in colder climates. They would have lost to the Packers if they were playing in Green Bay. So I'm taking Bills here, 34-24, just because the fact that it is a home game for the Bills. I would have probably taken the Colts a lot closer to victory. Maybe not actually victory, but I would have taken them a lot closer to victory if this was in Lucas Oil Stadium. But for right now, I just don't see Phillip Rivers playing well in the Buffalo Bills Open Stadium. So with the conditions there, it's not going to be good. So Bills 34, Colts 24. Titans versus Ravens. The shocking knockout of the Ravens last year. And this is a rematch of not just that game, but another game earlier this season where Derrick Henry rushed for over 200 yards against the Bills. The Ravens do not have a very good run defense. People are saying that the defense is decent. It's going to stand up to the Titans because the Titans, they are a bad defense. I will say that. They are last in the league at sacks. They're last in the league on takeaways. They are last in the league on tackles for loss. So they're not a very good defense. That is a fact. But the Ravens' pass defense, yes, it is good. But if they can't control Derrick Henry, they're going to let up 45 points. And Lamar Jackson is going to have a good game, but it won't be enough to count those 45 points. Titans 45, Ravens 41. That is my prediction. Now we have another matchup that was played earlier this season. We don't have to go too far back to see it. Week 17, Browns Steelers. But we can't really look at that game because, one, it was in Cleveland. Two, the Steelers had nothing to play for, so they were resting their starters. I still think that the Browns are not frauds. They're a good team. I think they will get the upset, 34-31. And if you think this upset is outrageous, and I'm like, if you think this is a bad prediction, and you think this is not a bad prediction, I think this is a really good prediction. Because I think the Browns are a bit of a shocker. Everyone was sleeping on them. Yes, they were. But I think the Browns are going to get the upset. That's not the only upset in here. You'll see in a little bit. Here we go, Saints-Bears. 28-17 Saints. I mean, everyone knows the Saints are going to win this. How'd the Bears get in the playoffs in the first place? It wasn't even because of them winning. It was because the Cardinals lost. 28-17, Saints win. Drew Brees against that defense. It's going to be a fun matchup to see. But I can see Drew Brees overcoming that. Mitch Trubisky against not a very good pass defense, but you don't have to be a good pass defense to stop Mitch Trubisky. So. And here we go, Rams-Seahawks. There have been 2 games played this year, Rams-Seahawks. It's 1-1. This will be in Seattle. However, I think both these offenses are pretty even. Even if Jared Goff isn't or is playing, I don't think he makes much of a difference to this offense. Their wide receiver core is what makes up the good portion of their offense. So I like the matchup between the offenses if I'm the Rams. The defensive matchup is where the Seahawks have to worry. The Rams have one of the best defenses in the league, shut down corners who can pick off Russell Wilson. They have very good defensive linemen, obviously Aaron Donald and other people who really slept on at the beginning of the year but have risen to the occasion almost every time. So that's where the defense is going to be where I pick the Rams. They are also second in the league. Sorry, they're first in the league at the highest scoring defense. And this is a matchup where I know everyone's saying that, oh, this is so boring. Tom Brady against a team that couldn't barely win 6 games. Well, I'm not going to dispute the fact whether Doug Peterson blew that game or not, okay? But I'm here to talk about how the Washington football team can't beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because they can. They definitely can. I think they can. And I'm going to tell you my reasoning. Mike Evans, the Buccaneers' undoubtedly best receiver, suffered a knee injury in the first quarter of the Falcons game. Yes, they did proceed to score 44 points in that game. But that was against a not very good Falcons defense who wasn't playing for anything. This is a very good Washington football team defense that obviously is playing for something. So I think that the Washington football team, they're going to catch the Buccaneers napping 14-7. I can see a lot of things happening with the Washington football team going good on defense. You have the second highest scoring defense. And especially if one of the punts can get the Buccaneers back up, if Tom Brady throws an interception or someone manages to fumble the ball, they could have an opportunity to have a defensive touchdown there, the football team. And I think Alex Smith, he isn't going to have a great game, but I think he will throw a touchdown pass or two. 14-7 Washington football team win. Here we go. The divisional round, you have Chiefs-Browns. This is a huge matchup for one player in particular. Kareem Hunt against his former team. I bet you he wants revenge more than anything. I think he's going to have a 100-plus yard game. Is it going to be enough, though? No. Patrick Mahomes is going to get a big play at the end like they have done for the past 15 games or the past 20 games or whatsoever. They're going to get a big play at the end. That's going to help them win. 34-31, I take Chiefs in a very close matchup. Here we go, Bills-Titans. They've played earlier this year. Titans won, obviously. It was the second Sunday game of this year. It was the first one, but it was one of 2. And I think the Titans haven't really changed up anything since then. They've lost their last few games, and they almost lost the Texans, actually. They could have lost the AFC South there. They had to require on a big pass of Ryan Tannehill. Well, this Bills defense is not going to let up any big passes today. Their defense is pretty good. They have Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White, who are some very good defensive players. I take Bills 42-34. Bills, Josh Allen, he's going to have a very good game against Titans defense that I mentioned is last in a couple of categories. And the Titans, Derrick Henry is going to have a good game because the Titans, as I mentioned, they are last in tackles for loss. They are last in sacks. So, yeah, the quarterbacks don't really matter when it comes to the run game, too, because you have Josh Norman, Micah Hyde, and Tre'Davious White. They're not going to be lined up at the defensive lineman position to stop Derrick Henry. But I have to give the edge to the Bills this one. I think they've improved a lot since that game, and I think they've shown what they're capable of. 42-34, Bills win. And here we go now to the first divisional game in the NFC. Packers-Rams. Packers had a bye, weren't playing in the divisional round. Rams, obviously, just got past the Seahawks. And I think Jared Goff will be back for this game. Yes, he will. But it's in the frozen tundra. And I'm going to have to give the edge to the Packers for that reason. 35-24, Packers win here. I don't really think there's too much debate about this. Packers-Rams is, it's not too obvious, but it is. I'd see a lot of people taking Packers here. So I also think Packers 35, Rams 24. Here you go. You have the Saints versus the Washington football team. The Saints, if you're giving it to momentum, Washington football team, they have momentum. They just beat a very good Buccaneers offense. And you have the Saints who just beat the Bears. So, not a very good team. And Drew Brees, who might not be in the best shape, although I think he will be able to throw a few touchdowns against the Washington defense. I think Alvin Kamara will be back by this time, and even if not, Ty Montgomery has been looking pretty good after his first game in Week 17 with the Saints. So, yeah, I think that the Saints will beat the Washington football team. I feel like that's pretty easy to guess. Football team 17, Saints 35. Here we go now. You have Chiefs versus Bills. It's an exciting matchup with the defense of the Bills, the offense of the Chiefs. Well, like I mentioned before, the Chiefs have required on big plays at late moments a lot this year. So, I'm going to have to take the Bills. I just mentioned they have Josh Norman, Tre'Davious White, and Micah Hyde. Those are three guys who have, they're pretty fast. They can cover Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins. And the run game for the Chiefs isn't looking too good. It hasn't been looking too good. I think Le'Veon Bell might have a pretty decent game, but I have to give this one to the Bills, 37-31. Here we go. You have Packers-Saints, a matchup that played out earlier this year in New Orleans with the Saints losing at home. And now you have the Packers who are at home, feeling very confident, now having won their last, having won their last 8 or so games. They're going to win 38-20. I feel like that's good. Drew Brees, if he can't beat Green Bay in a dome, he's not going to beat them in Lambeau Field. That is a fact. And I think they could bring it close later in the fourth quarter, but probably not, because that's what we saw in New Orleans. What happened? It stayed close until the fourth quarter, and then a few penalties by the Saints defense let the Packers really take the game away. I think the Saints might score a few points. They might try to get they might get a little bit of momentum in the fourth quarter, but it's not going to be enough. Packers 38, Saints 28. Here we go. Super Bowl 55. You have Packers Bills. This is an exciting one. Packers obviously have played really well to get here. Bills have obviously played really well to get here. Both of these quarterbacks are MVP. They've been playing like MVPs. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has probably won the MVP by now. And in Super Bowl 55, I hate to do this. Oh, my Packers are not going to win this. I'm sorry. I don't know if I could do it or not. I can't lie. I have to just... The Bills are a better team. They have shut down corners that could potentially trouble the greatest quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers, although I don't think that is likely. He might get off to a good start, but then maybe in the fourth quarter, if you can get an interception on Aaron Rodgers late, or you've seen a couple of teams do that, and they've really taken the game with that. So, I have to take Bills 37-34. The Packers' pass defense is great. The rush defense is great. Or not great, but it's not doing too bad. But I have to take Bills 37-34 here. So your Super Bowl 55 champion is the Buffalo Bills. In my predictions, if you think that a few matchups I called you disagree, leave your opinions in the comments below. I'm always free to listen to suggestions and other things. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye.